There's a lot of on these streets, and I'm not talking about Christmas, ho, ho, ho. And if you are single and a guy, you know that these streets are crazy, especially with the women out here and the way that society has become. The morality of things is just way out of control. And we have our guest today that is joining us, Jesse James. It's like a cowboy name, so you're ready to do the quick draw, you know. He's joining us today. He is the author of The Single Dad, and he's going to share with us all the things not to do out on these streets. So thank you for coming today, Joseph.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. It's my passion, to be honest with you. You know, I've made all the mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, and if I haven't made all of them, I'm sure that I'm got a couple more to go through.
Yeah.
But as I take the hits, and you know, I think that's my superpower, is being able to take abuse.
I think that's part of being a man, you know?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. You know, and I love that there is a movement out there of women that are starting to honor men for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a girl
great.
that's on social media, Pearl, I think. Mm-hmm. And she's a little, she's a little outrageous sometimes. She made a shirt that says women shouldn't vote.
Oh my God.
And she's learning how to rock the boat, like really rock the boat. But she's wanting to go back to traditional gender roles where men were men and they lead, and then women were, underneath their leadership, but they were able to enjoy that and honor that and take care of the way the family unit used to be and bring that back. You know?
Absolutely. Well, let's just jump right into that topic right there, because, so much of anytime a movement starts to happen, you get people that immediately start beating you up because they're like some of the comments on my podcast right now are, and they're the people that only watch the 10-second little social media bites, right? They don't watch the full video.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, there are single moms out there too. And I'm like, well, yeah, watch the whole video.
Yeah.
Because you're completely misrepresenting the context of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And back in the day, there was a lot of great things about the family values and everything from the 50s, right? That post-war era, the Donna Reed, father knows best kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
If we could go back to that and then just remove the couple of things that everybody agrees was not good,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like, don't beat your wife. Black people are okay.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of the racism.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the oppression of women that, they can't learn to read or they can't, vote or anything. Like, these are simple ideas, but people throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So now you're starting to see women start to be like, man, I kind of miss the idea that a man's going to take care of me. I kind of miss the chivalrous. What happened on my pedestal? Like feminism came about, which I totally think is of the devil, and convinced
really
women
is.
that not that they are equal to men, but that they should be men.
Yeah.
Right. And first off, the whole equal thing is completely misrepresented. We're not equal, and we shouldn't want to be equal because that means same. And we're not the same.
Yeah.
We weren't designed to be the same, And I wouldn't want a woman to be a man, or I wouldn't be a heterosexual.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love that women. Here's a great analogy. When I went to film school, we took an art history class, and we learned about how Renaissance paintings, if you look at Renaissance paintings, women are always drawn with soft, curvy lines. Men are drawn with hard edges because we bring toil. We bring, work, strife, struggle. That's what man brings to the world, right? Men bring war to the world, right? Like, we don't bring all good things, but that's the kind of stuff that we bring. Women bring peace and calm. They bring beauty. Now granted, there's some men out there that you could call beautiful, but by and large, beauty is not what you use to describe a man.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
And so women bring this beauty, this peace. They're the ones that come into a house, and like a guy would live in a box, right? But a woman's going to come in and put up curtains and decorate and put flowers and make it smell good. And, you want to get rid of that?
No.
No way.
No.
Because I can't do that. I love it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know? So getting back to traditional family values, traditional gender roles isn't a bad thing. It's a bad thing when you start abusing that and trying to say that men are better than women. We're not better than women. We're equal to women.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
We're different. We're made different.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. I just said what and wasn't supposed to be said, but hopefully you're following that train of thought.
Yeah. We're not equal, but we're different.
Right.
And that's okay. And we should be able to celebrate our differences, and we complement each other.
Yeah.
So that's the way God intended it to be.
Well, like a hammer and a screwdriver are not the same,
No.
but you need them both.
Yes. Yes. And if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever tried to unscrew and screw with a hammer? It's not.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got to use the right tool for the right job.
Exactly.
And so that's why there's different genders.
Yes.
Only two.
That's as far as I know. I mean, that's the way I was raised. So, well, you opened the show pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
And let me be clear. I am not advocating that we call any woman.
No.
If the shoe fits, so be it.
If the shoe fits, wear it. No.
But no. I started. I'd always wanted to be a dad from teenage years.
Yeah.
Not that I was trying to be, but as a matter of fact, I lost my virginity in college, and I didn't even realize that I had sex until I woke up the next morning.
Oh, really?
And there was a girl next to me.
Were you a little tipsy?
I don't remember it.
Oh, damn,
I have no memory of my first time.
Yeah.
But I was raised so. What's the word?
Sheltered?
Sheltered, yeah. Like I was raised in kids' church and youth group, and
okay.
and I was taught that all these things were bad and you'd go to hell. And then I get to college and I'm like, somebody's lying.
Yeah.
'Cause these people are having a great time, And
After the first time I had sex, if that was my thought, I'd say, how hot is hell?
Yeah, right, yeah. I don't know. Is there SPF? I think I might be able to take it. But yeah, I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. So I was like, well, I guess, and I literally had this conversation with God. I said, God, you're going to prove to me that you're real, or I'm probably going to kill myself doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just went full on for the college experience, and I didn't have a good track record, or not a track record. I didn't have a good pathway. I grew up in the child of 80s parents.
Yeah.
Like we are the ones that raised ourselves. I wasn't given a roadmap. I wasn't given examples. Anytime I asked for help, what I was taught was figure it out on your own.
Yeah. That's kind of
So
the way I was raised too.
Yeah. So therefore, you make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. So other people can learn from what we did wrong.
That's what I'm hoping.
And so, and just to join you on that, I'm a single dad too. My family fell apart, so I was kind of doing things on my own. And the first time that I experienced a woman was probably it wasn't even I was 13 years old.
Oh wow.
So I was young.
Yeah.
And just like from that moment, I said, this is amazing. I can't go back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I definitely made a lot of mistakes. I never wanted to be a dad per se. I did, but at 16 years old was when I had my daughter.
Yeah.
And so then experiencing the challenges of a teen, then having a child that's you're totally not ready for, brings on so many different, problems with it.
I can't even imagine. I was 27 when I had my first kid, and I made a ton of mistakes. I can only imagine what I would have done to that poor child if I was 16.
And I was definitely not living for God.
Yeah.
And so I'm 38 now. My daughter is going to be 22 years old.
Jeepers creepers.
And she's now a mother. And she had her daughter, my grandbaby, when she was also like 17.
He looks pretty good for being a grandpa.
I'm a grandpa. It's a cool grandpa club.
Yeah, man. Wow.
And so I was not a good example for her in the dating scene when it came to single life.
Can't say I was either. I mean, the one thing I tried to do was not expose my kids to, everybody that I was getting involved with. But then again, I'm not like a jump from person to person.
Yeah.
Right. So when I felt like there was somebody worth dating, I wanted them to meet my kids. I wanted to know if this was good. I don't want to spend 6 months, investing in somebody and then find out, oh, they are mean to my kids. You know, so it's a difficult roadmap.
When you say that, I've dated some women with some kids, and I did not like their kids.
Yeah,
and I had to be honest. I'm like, your kid is. I don't like your kid,
right?
And I like you, but I can't do this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's tough, but I mean, isn't that also a reflection of the parenting?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like, wow, I may like this person, but that's what they're producing. There's something there that I may not be, and there's always that on the internet there somewhere there's a video, but it's the hot versus crazy scale. Have you seen that?
No.
You can only tolerate somebody's crazy to the level of hotness that they are, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, it really is.
If you're with an ugly person, you're not going to tolerate as much.
Oh my gosh. Well, and on the inverse, Chris Rock has it great where he says, if you're poor and you tell a woman to get out, she's going to go.
Yeah.
But if you're living in a big old mansion and you say get out, she's going to go, let's work this out.
She's going to fight. She's going to fight for it.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, so, getting into the dating world and making those mistakes, and then I finally met my daughter's mother, and I was head over heels. I mean, I thought this was it, and we got pregnant, and I joined the Army because I was an actor at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I spent the majority of my childhood acting.
Wow.
And but I mean, I knew I couldn't provide for a family as a struggling actor, especially in New York because that's where I was.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh man.
So I was making a little bit of money doing some off-Broadway plays and whatnot, but I mean,
not enough to live in New York.
Oh my God, no. Yeah. So her stepfather was in the Army, and I saw the house they were living in, the fact that the medical bills for having a baby and everything, all that was paid for with the Army paying for everything. Yeah. So I was like, well, shoot, and it was right after 9/11, so I was like, feeling the patriotic thing.
Yeah. I
was like, yeah, let's do it, and I signed up, and we got stationed in Germany, which was amazing. And we spent the first 2 years of my daughter's life in Germany. And, I have a goal to bring her back there one day and kind of show her where she was because she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And then I got deployed to Iraq.
Oh.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the statistics of marriages not working out during deployments is really high for good reason. It's almost harder on the spouse that stays home. Because
there's no one there, right?
Well, there's no one there, but also like you have no control and you have no idea if the person that you love is going to die any second, right? I mean,
granted, stressful.
Yeah, you can say that for anybody, but I mean, the soldiers train for it. We're prepared for it. We're in the midst of it, and it's amazing what you can get used to. You either get used to it or you don't. But once you're used to it, you're there, and there's a certain freedom when the only stress you have is people trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You have no bills. All your meals are provided for you.
Yeah.
Right? Your life is, for the most part, entirely structured. Right? Like there is some freedom to that. Because once you get over your mortality and you have accepted the fact that you could die at any minute, you kind of relax. Whereas when you're at home raising a kid by yourself, handling the bills, being stuck in a situation, especially in another country, away from her own family, right? Like, there's a lot of things that I didn't think about at the time that were really difficult for her. And, we didn't work out.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, all I could think about was me, right? And my daughter as well, but mainly, what I was losing.
Yeah.
Right? Which... I honor that. That was hard, but I can see it so much more clearly now. As a matter of fact, I recently looked at some video footage of a trip that my family had taken to visit me and my family in Germany. And it was really eye-opening to see the way that I remember it versus what I saw in the video. I could see that she wasn't happy.
Oh, okay.
But I couldn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm in my 20s. I'm so self-absorbed. I don't consider
Yeah.
anyone but myself, really. And I mean, I think that takes effort. I don't think it comes natural to consider other people
Yeah.
and what they're going through,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
You have to really work at that. So that's a big part of what I put in my book is taking responsibility and accountability for the things that I did. Because it's not about what other people do to you. You can't control that.
No.
And if you can't control it, don't focus on it. What can you control in your life? Even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, even if the only thing you did wrong was choosing that person, you still chose that person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, take ownership of whatever it is that you can take ownership of and do what you need to do to reconcile that. Forgive yourself, forgive others, you know, because unforgiveness is the poison that,
Oh, yeah.
comes back and kills you. Or what is the saying?
Unforgiveness is like drinking poison. And
There you go, expecting the other person to die.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you. So, once I was able to do that, and I realized, you know what, the only thing that really matters is our daughter. And we started to be able to, we actually became friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, she used to call me for marriage advice,
Yeah. Wow.
which was amazing, right? I mean, pretty crazy.
a lot different than my daughter's mom.
Oh, yeah.
I married some kind of crazy, or I didn't marry. We were 16. You know what I mean? But she ended up things when I met my wife and we got married. There was some crazy stuff between her and this new family dynamic. But she ended up stabbing a guy in the neck.
Oh, my gosh.
And getting 7 years in prison. And so
Wow.
she was gone for 7 years.
I guess you really lucked out that it wasn't your neck.
Absolutely. No, I had a couple knives thrown at me when we
my.
were together. So I'm very lucky that things didn't go worse than they were.
Oh, yeah.
And so I knew that the level of crazy that was. So I didn't want that
Yeah.
again. And so I made sure I didn't get that level of crazy. But what I did realize, I didn't work on myself enough to where I thought I would attract the girl that I wanted. But in reality, we don't attract what we want. We attract who we are.
Bingo.
And so I ended up having different ladies that were different faces, but the same girl. And only when I started working on the things that I needed to work on to change me was when I met someone wonderful like my wife now. So yeah, there's some some craziness that can happen if you don't work on yourself.
Let me also just immediately say to people, if you are in a situation that is physically out of control,
Yes.
get out.
Yes.
Don't wait. Don't rationalize. Reach out to whoever it is that you can and get out. And that goes for guys too.
Yes.
Okay. I know there's a big thing where, people are aware that men beat women. There are cases, as you just said,
Oh, yeah.
where it is the reverse as well. And guys, I know everyone's going to laugh at you when you say it because I've been there, but get out because it's your ass on the line. And you know what? If the cops are called, guess who's going to jail? Right? Unless she literally has a knife in your neck at the time, then maybe the cops will take her.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they might just bandage you up and throw you in jail anyway, right? Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy
Oh,
how
yeah. Oh, yeah.
how biased our legal system is, and how biased
Yes.
the law enforcement officers are
Oh yeah.
towards women.
Oh yeah.
It's, and I know that I can already hear the girls out there going, "No, I have a friend who did." No. I know that there are special cases where men get away with things. And honestly, these days, because the devil really is in control of this world right now, the bad guy is the one that seems to get the help from the law,
Yeah,
law
regardless of
enforcement
who it
and the
is.
courts. Yeah, I mean, because I do hear these stories. Obviously, writing this book and having this podcast, I have people reach out to me all the time, and a lot of women are saying, "Yeah, but I have a friend who's husband, blah blah," blah. And usually it's because the guy has money. And somehow, and because he's the evil one, I swear we don't battle against flesh. We battle against the principalities and the spirits. It's all a supernatural battle that's really happening, right? We can't see it, but that's what's going on. And therefore, when evil is in action, that's what's going to get supported.
Yes.
Especially if you are a believer. The moment you become a Christian, I mean, there's a huge target that's put on your back. I like to say that hell has a a wanted poster wall, right? And it's just filled with all believers.
Yeah. Regardless, male
Yeah.
or female. Yes.
And and then that's another thing, going back to taking accountability. Take a deep breath, realize that what's going on right now is bigger than you, but you have a very important role.
Yeah.
And if you are not in control of yourself, in control of your emotions, you're not going to process it properly. And especially as a man, if we are emotionally out of control,
Oh, yeah. That's dangerous.
we're going to jail.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I can't tell you how many times back when I was out of control and the cops would show up and I would just be seething because something wrong was done to me, an injustice, and I want them to realize what it was. And all they see is crazy guy going to jail. And I've spent so many nights in lockup when I didn't do anything wrong. You don't have to do anything wrong to go to jail.
No, I did. I've been to jail 5 times. I did some wrong more than that. But
obviously you go to jail if you do something wrong, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
It can just be because they have to make a spot decision.
yes.
And 9 out of 10 times.
Right.
Right, exactly. But then all of a sudden, I started to work on myself and I started to get in control of my emotions. And I'll never forget the first time I was dating this girl, and we were going to this after hours party in a hotel, and she was pretty drunk. I had had a couple drinks, and we get up to the party, and first off, it was just, there was some nefarious stuff happening.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to get into exactly what it was, but it was not good.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, it was me, my buddy, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend. And I turned to my buddy and I go, dude, we need to get out of here. And he was like, yeah, totally. And his girlfriend was on board. My girlfriend wanted to stay.
Really?
And I was like,
Red
you
flag?
can stay if you want, but we're getting out because this ain't good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we walk out to the parking lot, and she was so angry that I wouldn't stay. She followed us to the parking lot and began to punch me in the face.
Oh, dang.
And finally, after being punched twice, I grabbed her hand on the third one, and I told her, you can't just hit people.
Yeah.
And with that, she threw herself on the ground
Oh, no.
and started to roll around to get real dirty. And she goes, I'm calling the police.
Oh.
And I said to
She
myself,
belonged in that party.
I'm going to jail.
Wow.
And I turned to my buddy and his girlfriend, and I said, guys, I got to get out of here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm going to get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started to walk home. And just as I got to the edge of the parking lot of the hotel, the police show up.
Oh, no.
And they're like, sir, you need to come over here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here we go. Well, for the first time, I kept calm.
Yeah.
Cool as a cucumber. Told him exactly what happened. Trusted just was like, God, this is in your hands. And thankfully, of the 4 reports that were given, 3 of them were the same. And one of these things is not like the other.
And that was hers?
That was hers. Even her best friend, my buddy's girlfriend, said the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all said the exact same story, right? And they arrested her.
Wow.
Yeah. I was shocked. I'd never seen this before. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing moment for me because I realized if I can stay in control of myself, then I actually have a fair shot.
Oh, yeah.
That's
the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. And then going back to what you were saying too, women can be the abusers, but also guys that if you can't control your emotions, like you're saying, and you're getting to the point where you're so angry that you want to take that out on the person you're with, that's the red flag. That's the moment to say, I need to get out of here. I need to work on some things in me. And maybe that relationship isn't right and you need to get out because it can go both ways. Because I know
sure.
I've been the aggressor and the other and the person I was with has been the aggressor. And it was not a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And so we definitely have to take control of our emotions.
Well, it's like they say summer bodies are built in winter.
Yeah.
You have to do the work on yourself before you're in that situation. Because if you think that you're going to be, when the chemicals start flooding and the emotions start raging, If you think you're going to make that decision then,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
It's no.
It is, if you've ever taken any kind of martial arts or boxing or if you've played any kind of sports, it is the practice so that in the moment, you can't be thinking about it.
No.
You know, when I'm going to age myself a little bit, but when Barry Sanders is running for a touchdown, he's not thinking, okay, I need to do this move and then I need to do that.
on
It's
autopilot.
instinct. Exactly. Because he's done it in practice beforehand. You have to practice. Okay, when I feel this way, how am I feeling right now? I'm feeling angry. Oh, okay, cool. Now I know what I'm feeling. I've identified it. What do I want to do with that feeling? You know, because your emotions, every emotion that God has given us is meant for our benefit.
Yeah.
Even jealousy, even anger. All right. If it's not working for you, then you're using the tool wrong.
Or it's using you.
Yeah.
It's hijacked you.
Somebody's in control.
Yeah.
And if it's not you, then you're in trouble. Right. So do the work beforehand and be able to identify red flags as they start coming up.
Yeah.
You should be able to have those triggers, like the acronym HALT. Hungry,
yeah.
angry, lonely, tired, right? If you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you are ineffective in a crisis situation.
Oh man, that means I'm pretty ineffective all the time because I'm at least one of those, if not two, all the time.
Well, and you know, like my dad struggled with low blood sugar.
Oh really?
Oh man, so the moment we'd be working in the garage and if he hadn't had some orange juice or eaten in a minute,
He'd start feeling
oh my gosh, I got to the point where I started to make sure, and I could actually say it to him when I started to see him get frustrated. I'd say, Dad, when's the last time you ate? Because and he was cool then,
Yeah.
because he understood it. But if it went too far,
Yeah.
oh my God.
You'd lose it.
Oh yeah, and I mean there was no coming back.
Yeah.
You know, because that's it. The Hulk was emerged, and you know now you just had to deal with the repercussions of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you have to take ownership and be in control of yourself and do that groundwork long before. You know, and then just like you said, if you're in a toxic situation, if you're in a toxic relationship, just get out.
Yeah, and if you keep getting in the same toxic relationships, it's probably you.
If you're having the same fights,
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to. Sometimes you got to.
common denominator.
Check your picker.
Yeah. I'll tell you another relationship story. So I was in a relationship with a girl, and I'll never forget the moment I knew that it was over, that I had to move out. I had one of those like hard plastic cups, right? A little harder than a red Solo cup, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
And we're fighting about something. I don't know what we're fighting about, but we're fighting about something, and I'm pounding my glass on the table, and I'm going, please just stop fighting me. Can we just stop? And I didn't realize it, but I looked down and I cracked the cup, and it was cutting into my hand, and my hand was bleeding. And I looked down, and I thought to myself, this is really bad. I got to get out. And I just looked at her and I said, I'm moving out.
Yeah.
Because that was it. You know, like it didn't have to get to a violent area. We didn't have to get into any kind of fight. But I realized this is not good for me.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to understand and value yourself enough to know that you deserve to be treated a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, you deserve to, if you are giving the other person the love and all the things that, you know, they deserve, but you're not getting in return, you know, as much as you may love them, if you don't love yourself, we only have the capacity to love others as much as we've learned to love ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you love somebody else more than you love you, you don't actually love them.
No.
That's an issue that you need to figure out within yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's really good.
And all of this is in my book.
And so, guys, this book will be in the description. There will be a link to it because they can find it on Amazon, right? So there's going to be an Amazon link in the description below. There's also, do you have a website and all that?
Oh, yeah, singledadbook.com.
Okay, that's going to be in the description. So if you guys want to get more information, just go down in the description. And while you're in the description, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you know when these next videos come out. And we'd really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, I've watched your stuff and the guests that you have. I mean, first off, your setup's beautiful. The sound is amazing.
Thank you.
So impressed. And, you know, you're hitting on things. I love your boldness. You know, like there's a lot of, I think back to the 700 Club, you know, when you think about Christian-based programming, it historically is pretty tame.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about They're not going to be walking the streets.
But I mean, I don't understand how that happened, because if you look at Jesus, if you look at the New Testament, read the red text, watch The Chosen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that show, I first off, I resist anything that everybody's doing.
Yeah.
It immediately, I don't want to do it. Right? So when The Chosen came out and everybody's crazy about The Chosen, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. I was the same way with Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
It was in season 6, I think, before I watched the first season.
Oh, okay.
Because it was everywhere. And I'm like, nope, don't care. You guys are all watching it enough for me. I'm kind of getting it just by the fact that every time I turn around, I'm hearing about it. Right?
Yeah.
But then after the hype was done, I was like, all right, now let me check this out. Now I lost my train of thought.
Game of Thrones. Not following the.
So Christian programming, it's been so tame, and I don't know why. Because if you look at the life of Jesus, if you look at what he did, he was a rebel.
Oh yeah.
He was breaking the rules. I mean, the establishment of the day wanted him dead. The people loved him, but the powers that be.
Oh yeah, he went against the grain.
Yeah. So I mean, if you really look at that and you apply it to our day today, if Jesus were here today, he would be going against the establishment.
Oh yeah.
Who's the establishment? Right? The media, government, Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
The people in control
that are changing the narration of what society should be,
and he would be disrupting. Yep. So if you're making a podcast where everybody loves it, then you're not doing anything.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want everybody to hate you, but like you need to be authentic. You need to push those boundaries. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
It's kind of like comedy. Like if you,
oh my gosh,
I love the art of comedy, and we got to talk a little bit about your past or your profession, the filmmaking, and all of that, because there's an art to it.
Oh yeah,
there's the art of lighting, and but the art of comedy. I love the way that someone can come up on stage, and the good ones, sometimes they're a little raunchy, but the good ones will come up and they'll craft the story, and they'll push the boundaries of what is acceptable in society.
Sure.
And they'll go on to the edge, and maybe sometimes a little further, but they'll do it in such a way that even people that disagree with them can appreciate the art of how they delivered it.
Well, and the greats make it look so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, great comedians make it look like anybody can stand up there and do it, right? It has been my greatest dream and fear to try stand up, and I don't know if I ever will, because I've tried in front of my mirror, and I'm like, it's so hard. And if you've ever gone to an amateur comedy show and oh my God, it's horrific.
It's cringy to see some of the people.
It is. It's like watching that show, and you're like, oh, I don't even want to watch him do this anymore. You feel bad. You can't even fake laugh anymore. It is so difficult to do. And those guys, the people that I really, really appreciate today, well, I'm not even going to name names because I don't know how to pronounce any of the names, but there's some really greats out there. Like I'll just say Bill Burr is probably the one that I enjoy the most. And what's great is and Bill Maher.
Oh yeah.
Right. What's great about them is they are left. They're liberal comedians, right? That's always been their agenda. But now they're even going.
Like something's wrong on this side.
Yeah, like guys, what's happening here? You're making me look bad, Yeah.
Dave Chappelle's another one. I love the way he just presents things.
he's a whole nother level, man. Like, yeah, I mean, I've loved him ever since Half Baked. Oh
yeah.
Yeah. So when I got out of the Army, I used my GI Bill to go to film school, and I've always been a storyteller. As a matter of fact, I was literally a storyteller when I was an actor.
Okay.
I got a job at Barnes & Noble as the storyteller in the kids department.
Well, I have to say, your voice sounds very nice.
Not as nice as yours. You definitely have the best voice. But I wouldn't just read the stories. Like the person that I basically stole the job from was, your typical little old lady that would sit there and turn the pages and read to the kids. And she'd have, 3 or 4 kids in there while the parents were shopping, which I think is what Barnes & Noble had envisioned. And then one day she was sick, and I was like, hey, Do you mind if because I knew I wanted that job.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, do you mind if I get up there and do it? And I was 20, maybe 21 at the time, and they're like, why do you want to work in the kids section? That's it's not a typical guy thing. And
I want to read the story.
Yeah. And I started to perform the stories. Oh, right. So, but I would do the ones that I knew. I did all the fairy tales, like Three Billy Goats Gruff and Rumpelstiltskin, Goldilocks. So I had these stories memorized. They were like a part of my who I was. So I didn't have to read them, and then I could kind of explore the story a bit and embellish and act out and use voices. And before long, I was pulling in crowds of 50 to 100 people for story time. Parents were coming and not just shopping. They were standing there and just watching.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I got written up in the news. It was really crazy. So I always loved storytelling. It was captivating. And then I came across Max Lucado's book, Tell Me the Story.
Oh.
And what he does, which he's so good at, I mean, he's really, really gifted, is he would take Bible stories, rewrite them to be just secular stories.
Oh, wow.
And therefore, I got to take these Bible stories into public schools and perform the stories and the Christian teachers would always be like,
hey, that sounds familiar.
I know what you're doing. And, give me like the little knuckles and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the public school was paying me to basically minister to the kids.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I mean, it wasn't pushing any kind of religion. It wasn't pushing any kind of agenda. It was pushing the message that Jesus came here to do, which is love.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, and I really, I mean, that's the focal point of my book. It's the focal point of everything that I do is love.
Yeah.
It starts with you. Gotta love you. Because again, you can't love anybody more or past the extent that you've learned to love yourself, right? And learning to love you only comes from getting to know your creator. So there's a great story called You Are Special that Max Lucado wrote about a town of wooden people called Weemics, and they all live in Weemickville. And the Weemics, what they did for their society was they would go around and they all had little boxes with stickers in them. And they would go around and to the pretty Weemics and the talented Weemics, and the strong Weemics, the athletic Weemics, they would give these gold star stickers to. But to the ones that maybe had some chip paint, or maybe they were a little clumsy, or they would try to speak and it wasn't that eloquent, they would give gray dot stickers to.
Oh, okay.
Right? Well, one of the Weemics was named Punchinello. And Punchinello was covered in gray dot stickers. I mean, head to toe. As a matter of fact, he had so many gray dot stickers on him that sometimes Weemics would just come up and put another one on him just to be like, you suck so bad, we're just going to give you another one, right? Like, it was crazy. And it got so bad that Punchinello just stopped going outside. He would just sit in his house, look out the window, and, dream about what it would be like to be a gold star sticker Weemic. Well, one day he sees a girl walk by his window who doesn't have any gray dot stickers and doesn't have any gold star stickers. She has no stickers at all. And he's like, what? Who? She knew? Like, who is that? And she sees him looking at him, and she stops and she's like, come over here. And they start talking, and he goes, how do you not have any stickers? And she goes, well, the stickers just don't stick to me. And he's like, what? He says, yeah, some people, because she was a pretty Weemic. Some people would go up and try to put a gold star sticker on her and just fall right off. And then others would come up because she didn't have any gold star stickers, try to put a gray dot sticker on her, and that would fall off. And he's like, man, that's how I want to be. I don't want anyone's marks. I don't want anyone's stickers on me, right? And she goes, well, what I do is I go up the hill to the wood carver who made us, and I just kind of hang out with him every day. And the stickers just don't stick. And he's like, wow, do you think he'd, hang out with me? She's like, absolutely. As a matter of fact, he's been asking for you. So he went to bed that night. He's looking up at the hill, and he's like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to go up there. And sure enough, the next day he goes and he walks up the hill and he gets there. But of course, the moment he walks in to the word shop, the hammer is as big as him, right? Like, it's very intimidating. And he's like, forget this. And he turns around to leave, and all of a sudden he hears the woodcarver call his name. And he says, Punchinello, is that you? He says, I was hoping you'd come. Come on over here. And he picks him up and puts him on the wood bench. And he's like, boy, it looks like you have some bad marks. And Punchinello gets all insecure, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I try to do good things. And woodcarver just says, stop. I don't care who are the Weemics to judge you. I made them just like I made you. Like you're fine. He says, well, I met this girl and she's told me about you, and none of the stickers stick to her, and I want to be like that. And he says, well, for now, you've got a lot of marks on you. Let's just have you come and hang out with me every day. And eventually they won't stick because you are special. I made you, and I don't make any junk. And with that, he picked Punchinello up and put him back on the ground. And he says, come back and see me tomorrow. And Punchinello starts walking to the door. And as he's walking away, he says to himself, I think he actually means that. And with that, one gray dot sticker fell off. And it's such a great story. And it's obviously a story about getting to know your creator and understanding his love for you and how he made you and that you are special, that you're not junk. And to be able to bring that story into the schools and tell these kids that right now, especially, are being told so much garbage and they're getting so confused. And who's the author of confusion? The devil. These are the messages that need to be put out. And it's not religion, and it's not rules. It's not, all the stuff that nobody likes about God, which isn't even of God. That's what we've created God, in our image. God is about love. It's about just loving one another. Love yourself. Get to know me. And that's the secret. If you can just focus on that, forget about judging others, forget about Karens, forget about all the crap that's happening in the world. It doesn't matter if they're trans. It doesn't matter any of this stuff. Don't get caught up in what all the misdirection that the evil magician's trying to get you to focus on. Focus on loving yourself. And out of loving yourself, and I don't mean in a selfish way, but in the way that God has created us to love, and then start loving others. If somebody's doing something you don't disagree with, you're not in any position. It's not for you to judge. Just love them, accept them, that they're on a path, and maybe they're not on a good path, but they're not going to get off that path by you judging them and yelling at them and condemning them. They might be open to listening to what you have to say if you love them.
Man, that is beautiful. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That is the great James, Joseph James. And you guys got to check out his book. If you guys want more, go to the link down below, Single Dads. He also has a podcast. And I want you guys to click on that link. I'm going to have that in the description also. And subscribe to his channel so you can hear that lovely voice sharing these stories with you on a regular basis. We got to have you back on the pod to do this. And
I got plenty more stories.
Yeah, this is awesome. And guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you know when the next videos come out, and leave a comment down below. If you have any questions that you want to ask that we didn't cover today, because we kind of this was like an introduction.
We bounced all over for sure.
Oh yeah, we were bouncing all over.
It's like a Super Bowl.
One of the things that's good about this show is we go down lots of rabbit trails. So we start with one agenda and then we end up over here and we completely miss the mark. But I believe it's things that people need to hear.
Yep.
And so if you guys have any questions, put those in the description and we'll make sure to read those. And I'll either comment to you or we'll talk about it on the next podcast.